Welcome agents to this Ingress video where we're going to have a look at overclock hacking, and specifically we're going to have a look at overclock hacking P8 portals. Of course, this is on the back of Operation Chronos, which has just started only a few days ago now, and if you were anything like me at the start, you were looking at the numbers and thinking, oh my god, how on earth am I going to get 5,000 Operation Chronos points so I can get that top tier medal? And I think at that point, I just resigned myself to getting 500 failed overclock hacks so that I could actually get those 5,000 points needed for the top tier medal. And I was feeling a little bit skeptical about the whole thing. And I think in part that was due to the fact that it's getting darker here, it's winter, it's cold outside, and I was also skeptical, is the camera on my phone going to pick up the portals and is it going to synchronize with the overclock hack mechanism? But I must say that as time wore on, actually, I found myself getting a little bit more optimistic when it came to overclock hacking. I know my first video, I found it next to impossible to get all the glyphs right. And then when you're wandering around that module, can you actually see the glyphs properly to be able to hack them? And do you really have enough time as you're going along? I think the honest answer to that question is no. Actually, you don't have enough time to wander around that module, have a look at all of those glyphs and figure out what they are. You really don't. But do you need to is the question that I put to you, because essentially what I found over the last couple of days is that there are so few overclock sequences that you can pretty much easily memorize all of them, and then all of a sudden you start getting a lot more of them all correct, and instead of 10 points a time, you're getting 40 points a time, like you see on the screen right now. So what you can see now is footage from a couple of days ago when I am actually trying to make the effort to actually overclock properly and see if I can get the glyph sequences, and I'm just about starting to get a few right, and I'm pretty much there with the first tier of the medal as well. You can also see on screen then it is a dark night, but I'm still getting successful calibration and I'm still getting ×4 points, which is pretty decent. That's not for all portals. The ones that you can see that I'm having a go at now, they're the ones that are under street lamps that are actually accessible at this point in time. And if I were to go in the park and have a look at a couple of the other portals, which I did, I can't actually get them to calibrate at all. So you have to pick and choose the ones that you're actually going to. But it does work. Despite all that skepticism that I had, it does work. I must say though, I am actually very fortunate to live in such a portal dense area, and we do have a good amount of overclock portals here. So a big thank you to those two agents that managed to get all those overclock portals put into that area where I live. And there you can see on the screen, finally, with that fantastically failed glyph sequence, there is my Kronos medal, the first tier of it. And it's an okay looking medal. It's a little bit different and a bit out of place when you put it into your profile because it's so different to all the other medals. But you know, I really quite like it when Ingress actually add these challenge medals into the game. It gives you something to strive for, and it's not something that you have to travel miles and miles like an anomaly to get to. So yeah, I really kind of enjoy it. It gives me a purpose to the game, which is fantastic. You might also be wondering, how on earth do I get overclock portals into my area? Currently I have none, and how on earth am I supposed to get enough points on Chronos without overclock portals? Well, it is possible. It requires a huge amount of scans, so a decent amount of good quality scans of those portals, and then it also requires another app so that you can push overclock portals into Ingress in your area, but I'll do a separate video on that one. For now though, the point to this video is that glyphing the overclock portals, it's not that difficult if you can learn a few glyph sequences. So for instance, the one that's just been, it shows a really popular route of a lot of glyph sequences for overclock portals, which is defend human civilization. And that comes across in a few different combinations when you are overclock hacking. So in this case it ends in Shaper's Portal, but there are a few different alterations after that initial glyph sequence. So for instance, another version is XM message at the end. But the point is that if you can learn the different endings, or if you can learn the starts of these glyph sequences, then actually it's not that difficult to start getting 5 out of 5 every single time and 40 points instead of 10 points. It also means that as soon as you see that first glyph, you can pretty much guarantee you know what the next two are going to be. And then you just need to look at the fourth and the fifth ones to make sure that you're actually getting the right ones to finish it off, which will save you a huge amount of time when it comes to looking around that module and trying to figure out what they are. Actually, sometimes you don't even need to figure out what they are. You'll see me plenty of times in this video not even wait for that glyph to appear because I already know what the next one is, and therefore I don't need to wait and see it, because when it comes to overclock hacking, actually you don't have enough time to be able to look at all of them, and you don't have enough time certainly to wander around that module and figure out what on earth that glyph is. As a matter of fact, the one that's on screen at the moment, as soon as you see that box appear, as soon as you see that strong glyph appear, that you know that actually the next three glyphs are going to be together, war, together, and then the only variation is the final glyph. So in this case, you can see that strong together, war together, and then it's preceded with destiny. But the only other variation of that one is strong together, war together, and then chaos at the end. So I know when I see strong at the start of the sequence that the next three are definitely going to be together, war together, and that I don't have to wait around to actually figure out what the next ones are going to be. I'll just put them in and race through it, and then I'll have a look at the final one just so I can get the final one correct. And with this method then, I'll be gaining a lot of confidence when it comes to overclock hacking. And as you can see in the video now, it's actually daytime, it's actually the next day. And I'm getting a much higher percentage of these overclock portal hacks correct. And therefore the amount of points that I'm getting is going up and up and up, which means that every time I wander through town, I can get at least 500 points. And I'm currently sat on 3,335 points as we speak. It certainly won't take me very long to finish off the Chronos medal, so hopefully I'll do it within the next couple of days. But actually going forward from this video, I'm a little less skeptical when it comes to overclock hacking. And so if I'm actually going somewhere and I'm pretty short of kit and I need some bursters, for instance, or I need some resonators, I'm much more likely now to actually start thinking about, oh, well, to save me a bit of time, I'll just go and overclock hack a portal instead of just wandering around and tap hacking the portals like I normally would. I mean, when you see the successful hacks for this, and I know I flick through them really quickly because I'm not necessarily interested at the moment what I'm getting out of these hacks, but there is a huge amount of kit, and so sometimes that can be anything up to 20 bursters, for instance, or 20 resonators, and that's huge. That's really quite a lot of stuff, and it's a very fast way of getting that amount of gear in such a short amount of time. A particularly nice thing today then, when I've been hacking and overclock hacking, is that I came away with 5 viruses, which is unheard of for me. I don't hack a huge amount anymore, and to get 5 in a single day is unprecedented. So I was really happy with that, and again, as I say, I'd be much more likely to use overclock portals in the future just for ease and for sake of time. So what would I advise going forward? If you can, and if you can get together with another person and you can start using viruses to actually build up level 8 portals, and then make sure that you've got really decent hack mods on, especially the pink multi-hacks, the very rare multi-hacks, and definitely a heat sink on them as well, and hopefully you can get a couple of overclock portals in very close vicinity like we fortunately have here, then I certainly would. I think it's really well worth it if you're looking for that Chronos medal and you want to get the upper tier of it. And for the people that don't have lots of overclock portals nearby, that really is a failing of this medal. And I know you can actually get the medal in other ways, but it is very difficult because you'd need to, I think, capture 1,667 portals and mod them twice each, which is just a little bit unrealistic. So if you don't have lots and lots of overclock portals nearby, that is certainly a failing in this medal, and it is completely unfair. All I can say for that one then is, with a good amount of scanning, hopefully you'll get those overclock portals in the future, and if there are any more events like this one, you should be in a decent enough place. But for this current medal, then yeah, it's going to prove to be a very difficult undertaking. What I'll do then is at the end of this video, I'll post a screenshot of a lot of the different sequences that I've found, and you can have a look and see if you can actually put a few of those to memory so that when it comes to overclock hacking yourself, you've got a little bit of an idea, a little bit of a head start as to the sequences you might expect, and hopefully you can get some decent overclock hacks done and start making a good amount of headway into your Chronos medal. If there are any other glyph sequences then that I haven't put at the end of this video that you've seen on the P8 portal, please feel free to put them in the comments so that other people can have a look at them and share in that knowledge. That'd be absolutely fantastic. At this point then, I'll say thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to leave me a comment anyway, I always reply. And if you'd care to ping me in the game and have a look at stats, that's absolutely fine as well. You can see, have I actually got that Kronos medal yet? Otherwise, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.